Live from Loudmouth Central, you're listening to Loudmouth Fisticuffs, hosted by combat sports analyst Joshua Fers and international ring announcer Mr. Live Worldwide Jeff Houston. Half sports show, half comedy show, and half conspiracy show. 100% in your face. So open your ears, shut your mouth, and have a good fucking time.
Boom, there we go. Shut your mouth, open your ears, and have a good fucking time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Loudmouth Fisticuffs for your emotional, verbal, and anal enjoyment. Maybe that's not right. I am Joshua Fers. This is Mr. Live Worldwide Jeff Houston. Mr. Jeff Houston, how's it going, my friend?
Well, as you can see, I am all set up, all completely set up for cold weather. I got my robe on. I'll never take off the Knuckle, no matter how ridiculous it looks. And right now, I'm sporting my beautiful Briarwood church warden pipe. I was smoking it previously this morning, about 34 degrees down here in good old outside of San Antonio, Texas. But I figured, cold weather, a nice Briarwood pipe definitely brings out the cold weather in me. I had to take the tobacco out because pipe smoke doesn't exactly work too well with, recording equipment and such. So can't have too much smoke in here. But, well, maybe I can, maybe I can't, but I look sexy anyway, nonetheless, man. I've got my nice church warden pipe, having a good time.
Well, I do have to admit, there is a certain sharpness to it. It's kind of weird. It does kind of work.
Well, it does kind of work. I just wish that I had my tobacco in it right now. But, like I said, I don't want to really mess up my Loudmouth Central with smoke, even though that it would make a very nice room note. Because I smoked the same pipe tobacco that they used in Lord of the Rings. Once again, this pipe is not the reason. This pipe is not an indication that I am a Lord of the Rings fan. I actually love the history behind the church warden pipe. But I found a company that actually does a tobacco match on the. I forget what it was called, but it's the same one that they smoked in the Lord of the Rings, and it's quite nice actually. It's very mild. It's got a nice cherry flavor to it. That's what I was smoking previously this morning. Very nice.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that there was you could buy.
Yep. There was a company that was in business that was all about doing the match for the tobacco, but unfortunately that company is no longer in business. So there was another company that did what's called a 98% match on the on that kind of tobacco. So I got some, and it smells good, it tastes good, and it also leaves a very pleasing room note. For you pipe aficionados, a room note is basically the room smells good after the pipe has warmed up.
So it's almost like you get like that extra added burning incense effect.
Incense, peppermint.
Do people still do that anymore, or is that that's like a 90s, 80s kind of thing? I don't think people still do that, do they?
What, incense?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got my incense burners here. I got a couple of nice ones here.
Because my dad did it all the time. He used to always burn.
My dad. Okay. Bye-bye pipe. Okay. Incense burners are so 90s. No, I still love my incense. I do the sticks, I do the cones. I've got a couple of very nice incense holders. It's very nice. There's nothing wrong with having rooms in your home smell good. Who's we got here? Mr. Red Rims, number one. We appreciate you joining in. Episode number 40, mind you, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We have literally become middle-aged here on Loudmouth Fisticuffs. Granted, I am over 40. Oh, man. 4 horsemen, 4 reasons not to watch Joshua Fers, 4 reasons to watch Jeff Houston. I could give you 40 reasons to definitely not watch Joshua Fers by himself. That's a train wreck. That's a clusterfuck.
Well, I guess there are worse things in life. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Again, like Jeff said, episode 40. what'd you say, Jeff? We're middle-aged now, right? Is what you were saying earlier.
We are middle-aged now, and apparently my co-host doesn't know how to silence his cell phone.
Woo! And man, we're fresh off. I don't know if you caught it, Jeff. I always have to double check.
If I caught it.
Knucklemania. Knucklemania was this past Friday.
Who wasn't there? Exactly. If I caught it. I should be asking you that same question. Man, cut that out. It looks like that you're on the toilet and you got the trots.
I mean, if anybody would still do the Ric Flair swag while on the toilet, it could be Ric Flair. I could maybe see him.
No, I could do it pretty damn well too. I've got some. Yeah, I got a little Ric Flair swag in me.
Knucklemania was, of course, this past weekend, this past Friday. It's fucking amazing. We're going to talk about that.
We're diving in head first.
We're diving in ass first on this one. I mean, we're
of course you're going to say that. Dive in ass first. Man, I'm going to tell you what. You got to get a drink in you first, and then you worry about going in ass first. No, not that kind of drink. I'm talking about something that loosens up your inhibitions.
Guys, also don't forget to check out. Go to bangenergy.com. Use promo code Loudmouth Fisticuffs, and you will get you actually pay 30% more. So check that out. Go visit that. Put the promo code in. You'll actually get a 30% increase, and we get a little cut of that. So take care of us. Take care of us. In all seriousness, also too, hey, bring it in. We're all about participation. We always kind of change shit up. So bring it in. If there's something you want to talk about, I mean, I know, we don't want to talk about too long, but the crazy ass impeachments is going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. If there's something near and dear to you, there's a lot going on in the fight game. There's a big pay-per-view this weekend, the Gilbert Burns Usman card, UFC. That's fucking exciting. That's going to be an amazing card too. There's a lot of things that have happened recently and that are coming up. So, man, I guess without further ado, we just jump right into Knucklemania.
What kind of dew? Are you talking about a dew? Are you talking about the freshly dew that falls? Or are you talking about the Mountain Dew that gets you started?
I don't know what that means.
Well, you said a dew. What kind of dew? Freshly fallen dew or Mountain Dew? Which dew do you do?
I don't know. You know what? I used to be a big fan of Mountain Dew, but not so much anymore.
Well, yes, because you realize that you have inner organs. When you're a young kid, you don't worry about that, and you can take all the sugar and abuse from Mountain Dew. But there is one person who got a little bit of a viral well, not too viral, but our good friend, Mr. Sean Wheelock, who many know, or many of you don't know, is probably the biggest fan of Diet Mountain Dew that I've ever seen. And he claims that that's his main vice. That's his main
Is that
vice.
like his source of power? Does he claim it's his source of power?
Every show that he has done, he's always got a couple of, because he has to check his bags to bring it.
By the 2-liter.
But he usually several 2-liter Diet Mountain Dews. And one of the fans caught him polishing off the 2-liter, took it all the way up, took it vertical and such. And apparently, that's gone a little viral from a man right there. But, if you got to do the dew, Sean Wheelock knows how to do the Diet Dew.
Hey, I mean, taking a fucking picture of doing the dew while you're calling Knucklemania, man, that man can do whatever he wants to for the
he didn't
job
take
he does.
He didn't take the picture. He didn't.
I know he didn't.
That's not a do the dew Diet Dew selfie. No, not at all.
Hey, man, maybe the old PepsiCo company can give a little ring-a-ling.
There's only one way to do the dew, and you can't do the dew with the Diet Dew and a selfie. It just can't happen. It's too much dew. You can only do so much. Do the Diet Dew.
Facts. I always see Sean Wheelock with Mountain Dew. They should sponsor him. I agree.
Well, just because you drink it doesn't mean that you should automatically get a sponsorship following. But yes, in this instance, as long as I've known him and he's never disappointed with the Diet Dew, yes, I would agree with that. Well, let's get to it, man. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the biggest bare knuckle extravaganza of all time. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, Man, oh man, Josh, I know that you had extenuating circumstances that did not allow you to join us. But when I say that you missed out, man, there cannot be an understatement or overstatement said anywhere at this time after 12 noon my time, exactly 12:24 p.m. my time, Central Time, that you missed out.
Well, I will say this, and yeah, you know, it was some circumstances, some real life work circumstances. I don't know why I did that in quotes, as if it's that was weird.
Well, because this isn't real life. We're inside Loudmouth Central, and these little boxes don't necessarily indicate real life, do they?
But I will say this: Brian Maxwell, Mr. Red Rims himself, and Tom Shoaf, they kept me company. We did the post-fight show, and it was awesome. We had a good fucking time breaking that down. So
thanks for putting me under the bus with the butt call. I didn't mean to fucking butt call your ass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, remember Brian, yeah, he was, and I was like, yeah, Mr. Live Worldwide, you're on, and then there was nothing. So,
well, it's never in my it's never in my back pocket anyway. Some people do that. No, it's always in my side pocket there. So it was more like a hip check call. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know, it was like an hour later. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? I was trying to think, like, maybe you were on the way back to the hotel. Like, I
probably was. I mean, if it was an hour after or such, I probably was en route back to the hotel, because everything this time was much more spread out. But I'm sure a big contributing factor to that was the fact that it was Super Bowl weekend. So only so many places were available, because, of course, we had the press conference over there at Harley Davidson, right in between St. Petersburg and Clearwater Beach. And that was a solid 2 hours away from our hotel in Orlando. We were literally down the street from SeaWorld in Orlando. We were at the Doubletree Hilton. And then, of course, we had the weigh-in ceremonies. And the weigh-in ceremonies were our first ever fully produced weigh-in ceremonies that we've ever done with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. They were produced and live from moment one to moment done. And I really dug it, man. I really loved it, because we got to open up with our dynamic commentary team. We had Brian Sosha on point for the interviews.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So therefore, the whole team was a part of our weigh-in ceremonies this time around, and it was so clean and so efficient. I mean, I don't mind hosting the weigh-ins. I mean, that's definitely my fucking job. But when you get the team involved on a production sense, it makes the product look so much better. It really put over how important Knucklemania was. I certainly hope that we can continue that formula on the smaller shows, because it really makes a difference.
Well, it made it seem like a and you know what? Maybe it's because the card, but like you said,
made it seem it was. Don't say make it seem like it was.
Okay. All right.
It was.
But what I was gonna say is it really had. Not that any card. Okay, so every card I've loved every fucking card, but this card it was different, right? Whereas like it really had that big fight feel to it, and not that I got to be careful. Not that the previous cards didn't necessarily.
We've had big fight feels before. It's just that it was
different. It was just fucking different.
Well, no, this was advertised as a premiere event.
Right. And like you said, the weigh-ins were done. It was different to where like everything just kept building up and building up and building up and building up. And when you finally got to it, man, like when you finally got to those fights, woo, you know, and then, you know, Segala versus Starling kicked off that main card and just set the fucking bar and blew the fucking roof off.
Hard for anyone to match that or succeed past our opening pay-per-view fight.
Yeah,
man, Charissa Segala and man Taylor Starling, man, they didn't set the bar. They knocked the bar off, man. Sky was the limit. as far as I'm concerned, that was the same effort that I saw when I saw Faria and Peralta. I saw two fighters absolutely go to war. And it was a little unexpected, even though that there was a little light shoving at the weigh-ins between those two. But nonetheless, what we saw was just absolute magic. We saw two fighters give us everything that they had, everything in their mind, in their body, in their fighting spirit. It was absolutely a pleasure to watch. And of course, we have our naysayers that jump on social media saying that women have no place in bare knuckle fighting. And of course, Stephen A. Smith, fucking dumbass, decides to get on social media and say, I don't like female MMA fights. It's funny because they were just talking about that on the Bare Knuckle podcast that ended just previously. And Dave was saying, for someone who has been shown to throw like the weakest punch on air.
Oh, that clip of him like.
That terrible. I know. He said the weakest looking punch on air, and you're saying that women have no place in combat sports. He was like, dude, learn to throw a punch before you knock any fighter. And I just think that that's so sad, man. I mean, that what a warped sense of thinking that man has, and knowing that man says that, and he's still part of ESPN that covers the UFC. How sad is that? That's embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed if I were the promoter, or if I were the lead television production on ESPN. I would have been embarrassed. And I said, what the fuck is your problem? Why would you say that? You've been covering this now for how long has ESPN been a part of the UFC? Has it been 2 years yet?
I think sounds about right.
It's been about 2.5 years now. All right. So yeah. Stephen Smith is no stranger to the UFC now.
Right.
And now he decides to say that he doesn't like female MMA fighting at this time. Or there are people that are offended by seeing females bleed in the squared circle or in the octagon. These are world-class professional athletes that have earned the right for that blood, that sweat, and those tears. No matter what fighting format they decide to step into, whether it be a cage, the ring, or the squared circle, they have earned that right to bleed in front of millions of people, just as much as the male fighters. I mean, I see it. Not only do I see it equal, I see sometimes the female fights, trumping the male fights. Easy.
100%.
I mean, absolutely. But for someone to say that they don't like that when they represent UFC, which the UFC now represent, ESPN, which now represents the UFC,
right,
dude, I have a feeling that this guy's got something wrong upstairs. Something isn't connecting.
I don't know what it is. I guess not really, in all fairness, but he's not the only one, but he's definitely the.
But in his position, But seriously, in his position to be any kind of an analyst and to completely and totally put women under the bus when they've earned the right to be there. You also have to remember, Dana White wasn't exactly too thrilled about the women's division at the beginning. And now he says, I have eaten my crow. I was 100% wrong about not pushing the women's division in the UFC. And now it's set, like I said, it's set a bar that's really, really hard to equal.
So self-admitted. He said it was, once he saw Ronda Rousey fight, that it was just all changed. That whole perspective changed. And look, we saw what UFC 200. It was Nunes and Tate, right? Didn't they headline UFC 200? Misha Tate and Amanda Nunes.
I believe so. I believe so.
There's been a lot of big steps taken, man. Results. I have been, but it's a must see. Oh yeah, 100%, 100%, man. It is what it is, If any angle of fighting
is not for Stephen A. Smith, then he needs to find himself a new line of work. Please.
Also, too, one thing I do not like that ESPN does is like him and Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, right? That's the other guy.
Yeah.
Like, where they pretty much cover, like, they talk about an entire gambit of sports. Like, they're the same. They talk about boxing. They talk about basketball, football. They talk about all these different fucking sports. Like, I don't know that they really have a play. I like, now don't get Max Kellerman. He knows his shit, especially about boxing. 100%.
Well,
Like,
I mean, he's put in his time. He's paid his dues. I mean, you know, I mean, he's a well-trusted boxing analyst.
Right. But like Stephen A. Smith and like some of these other sports, like it's entirely, because there was for a while, Max Kellerman, you could tell when he talks about MMA, at least at first, like it was just beneath, you know, kind of like beneath him, beneath boxing, because boxing is the, you know, that's the prize fight. That's the premier sport.
Screw that. The only time you should be looking down on anybody is when you're helping them up. Beneath you, please.
I mean, you could just tell, you know, I just think they need to have, I know there's like a couple little shows, but they just need to have different people when it comes to like.
He better watch it though, because the way that social media has been, you know, nipping a lot of people in the butt with their comments, he better be careful, man, because he could be one or two social media comments away from being unemployed. And then we'll see how much he doesn't like female fighting then.
Cancel culture, baby.
Dude, I'm serious. You better fucking watch what you say. As far as I'm going to tell you, you know what? It's unfortunate because I'm sure a lot of people know that Gina Carano was just recently fired from the cast of The Mandalorian for the comments that she's made on social media and such. And I just, you know, I'm going to tell you, I believe in freedom of speech. But I also know how social media ties in to most businesses these days. And I know that you got to watch what you fucking say, especially anytime you're dealing with anything that has to do with politics, religion, anything that's a hot button topic. You got to watch your fucking mouth on social media because you have no idea what could happen. And you have no idea that that could be misconstrued and taken the wrong way. And guess what? You're out of a job because of what you said on fucking social media. Dude, how lame is that? How lame is that?
You know, you know, you said that and I went and looking at him now, and like, it's just, it's pretty fucking stupid that somebody's opinions like that can I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't, let's just say Stephen A. Smith. I don't agree with those opinions. I don't think he should necessarily be talking about, he doesn't really have a place at the table to talk about, you know, women in combat sports. But like, doesn't mean I necessarily want his ass fired, you know, from ESPN.
Oh,
right?
No. Let him do that himself.
What I'm saying is like, you know,
let
like
him do that himself
this
with
mess
his lame
with
fucking
Gina
comments.
Carano and her getting fired, man, like over some, you know, yeah, okay, were they controversial? Were they for everybody? No, but it's her fucking opinion.
You know, let
cares?
him. It'd be so funny if, you know, let him approach somebody and say, you know, I don't like what you're saying about me. You know, you keep talking, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm like, oh, really? Well, with the way that you punch, I'm really scared. I'm really scared. God, talk about somebody who could probably do with a celebrity boxing match. Maybe we should get him in touch with Damon, my man Damon. And then, oh, dude, Damon, that'd be so badass if you could get Stephen A. Smith in there and the whole country could watch him absolutely get decimated. Dude, I'd pay to see that.
Against a female fighter.
And against a female fighter, you want to go ahead and make some money. You want to put this guy in his place with saying that. There it is right there, Damon. I just made you a whole bunch of money, baby. Stephen A. Smith versus a female fighter. And then we will see how you feel about it. We'll see how you feel about it. Dude, that's a good idea. That's a damn good idea. Now, once again, I'm not trying to get myself in trouble. I'm not to try and talk down to anybody. I just don't appreciate comments from somebody who has never stepped in the ring, never stepped in the cage, and taking an entire division away that the world has not only grown with now, but we love it.
Yeah.
We are loving the women's division in combat sports, no matter what it is. And you want to talk about a division that is growing by leaps and bounds, and it is right on par with the men's division, and that's in bare knuckle. It really is. We've seen absolutely unbelievable fights this far from our female bare knuckle fighters. We really have.
No, 100%. And like you said, Taylor Starling and Teresa Segala, I guess to segue back to Knucklemania, but they got fight of the night, well deserved.
Oh, nobody was good. Even though that there was an incredible 5-round war, which we're going to get to in a little bit with Datwin and Johnny Bedford. Sure. It still was a fantastic fight, but I'm thinking as far as the overall effort, what we were given in one night. Segala and Starling definitely set the bar, set the pace, and I honestly believe, and I'm sure that you'll probably agree with me, absolute best fight to start off a show in the history of BKFC. We've never had a better fight than that one to actually start off a show.
Yeah, no, that's it's crazy because typically I'm not a huge fan of when fights go to decision, right? But
I am if it's a war.
Well, now hold on. Yeah, let me. So like if it's a fucking war, like Jason Knight, Artem Lobov type war, like okay, yeah, that's awesome, right? But BKFC is known for finishes. Like how many cards have we seen where either the whole card was all finishes or all finishes but like one or two fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had how many decisions? We had 1 2 3 4 3 4
No, we had a few.
Four decisions on this card, which it's unusual, but every single one of them was fucking like edge of your seat, really good fucking fights, and I had zero problem with them going to decision, right? And this fight, man, to set this up for a 5-round war, first fight on the pay-per-view, to set the fucking bar for Knucklemania, to say they knocked it out of the park would be an understatement.
Oh, huge understatement.
There's not enough, honestly, like I've been talking about this fight since Friday. There's not enough. I can't really do it justice to say how good it fucking was. If those of you who, if you have the BK TV app or you don't have it or you didn't see the fight, 3, yeah, that's right. It was 3, Ryan. Thank you. If you don't have the app or you missed Knucklemania, shame on you. But go back, grab the app, watch Knucklemania, because I mean, man, if you're a combat sports fan, and I'm not even talking about, let's say you're not a bare knuckle fan yet. If you're a combat sports fan, you're an MMA fan, you're a glove boxing fan,
any kind of fighting fan,
fan, go and watch this fight.
We hit all cylinders, dude. We hit all cylinders. All cylinders were firing at Knucklemania. It's not that often that a premier event not only lives up to the hype but surpasses it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of premier events. There's a lot of premier events that claim to be premier. But as you could see, our production was stepped up 100%. We had a walkout ramp that was close to 100 feet long. The lighting schematics on our truss were by far the best that we've ever had. And the way that the overall production, I believe it was our best and most well-produced event that we've ever had. It really was one for the ages. And not only that, we had tons of celebrities in there. Of course, the Shaq Attack was back. Yeah. We actually had him present the winner of the co-main event with the BKFC 135-pound World Championship. And just, you really get a scale of Shaq when you stand next to him in the squared circle. I barely came up to his shoulder. And I'm almost 6 feet tall, so that gives you an idea of just how massive this guy is. But not what else is massive is that he's just such a huge super fan. I mean, he's a legitimate super fan. He's not another celebrity that comes in and puts his face to the product but doesn't believe in the product. He believes in the product. Shaq has said on numerous occasions that this is the future of combat sports. And, nobody's paying him to say that. He is a bona fide fan. He's knowing the fighters by names. When the fighters pass by, he knows them by their first name now. He knows them by their exploits in BKFC. How impressive is that to have a celebrity ambassador that's such a fan of the sport and a bona fide fan, not a paid fan, but a bona fide fan? That's amazing.
Also, too, I do want to add, so the next fight up going into the main card, Dylan Kleckler, Chris Jensen. I haven't pointed this out yet, but Dylan Kleckler KO'd Chris Jensen 34 seconds into round one.
Dylan Kleckler is such a badass, man.
He is.
He's gonna really start making waves in the heavyweight division.
Well, I want to say, because I hadn't mentioned this yet, but it is updated. That actually put him into the top 5 fastest KOs. He's now number 5 at 34 seconds.
Oh, really?
He bumped off Gustavo Trujillo.
Trujillo.
I'm just gonna say Gustavo. You know what I'm talking about. He bumped off Gustavo. Gustavo was at 35 seconds by 1 second. He bumped off Gustavo. So Dylan Kleckler is now number 5. He's in the top 5 for fastest KOs. And
good for him.
BKFC. So
good for him. He's another heavyweight prospect that, if he keeps fighting the way that he does, he is going to be in line for a heavyweight shot down the road, and hopefully soon. Speaking of heavyweight shots down the road, I can't wait until April. Of course, April, we're talking about Joey Beltran defending the BKFC heavyweight title against Sam Shoemaker, and a very different Sam Shoemaker as we saw at BKFC 15. Yeah. I really hope that same Sam Shoemaker shows up to BKFC 17 ready to throw down the way he did at BKFC 15. It was a completely different fighter, and that is one guy that I wanted to see proceed, because if you remember, Josh, at the beginning of BKFC, he sets the bar almost impossibly high. Yep. It's so hard to eclipse an 18-second knockout over Eric Prindle. I mean, that's a tall order for anybody, number one. And he was the face of the company at the beginning. Man, he was the selling face on our Vice documentary.
Right.
And unfortunately, he didn't find his stride for quite some time. And that's such a shame that went the way it did. But I'll tell you what, he found his stride in BKFC 15. It was a different fighter. I don't know if he was close to the chopping block, if he didn't do well on BKFC 15, but that's irrelevant now because he did it.
Well, here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy about that is Sam Shoemaker's record is 4-1-1. He's only lost one fight, and
I know that.
And that was to Arnold Adams at BKFC 3.
And that was the final match in the heavyweight tournament.
Right. So like, it's crazy. It's crazy, to see.
To think, for him to say that, he's anything but done, because he's not. He's not even close. As far as I'm concerned, I think he's just getting warmed up. He's got a new lease on life. He's got a new fighting blueprint that he put into, he put it into practice, and it paid off at BKFC 15. Paid off so much that he got himself a title opportunity at BKFC 17. And I do believe BKFC 17 is going to be emanating April 16th from Miami.
Miami, yeah.
Great time to be in Miami around April. That's going to be a great time to be in Miami. And of course, we've got BKFC 16 coming up. That's going to be on March the 19th in Biloxi.
Yep.
And that's going to be an awesome one, because our man, Joe Elmore, talk about Joe Elmore getting an opportunity. Why don't you go ahead and release to everyone who doesn't know who Joe Elmore's opponent is for BKFC 16?
That would be the bad boy himself, Leonard Garcia.
Returning.
Yeah, he's going to be returning. He hasn't fought Leonard. He hasn't been around since I think that Jim Eller's fight, right?
Yep.
So he's going to be coming back, and he's going to be, I think he's going to kind of, has some things to prove, I think, and coming in against somebody like that, Joe Elmore.
Well, they both know how to push the pace.
Of course they do. Yeah. And we all remember, he's a tough son of a gun, man.
We all remember how Leonard pushed the pace against Julian Lane at BKFC 4 in Cancun. Yeah. Yeah, so he knows how to push the pace. It's just that when he came up against Jim Ellers was a different beast for him.
Just a different animal.
Absolutely a different animal. But so is Joe. Joe's going to be a different animal for him in the main event. And that right there, that's a barn burner right there. That has got, oh, man, that has got bloody implications. And for those of you who get so offended by the sight of blood, let me ask you something. What the fuck are you watching bare knuckle fighting for if you're offended at the sight of blood? Seriously, man. That's the stupidest thing that I've ever heard of, that, you know, you're offended at the sight of blood and yet you still will watch it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But you know something? Keep watching it, and we are going to keep giving you buckets and buckets of blood, because unfortunately that's the way that the sport goes. But if you want to talk about overall damage, take a look at Taylor Starling's pictures right now. We're not even 1 week removed from Knucklemania, and she's just got shiners.
Yeah.
She actually, in fact, I believe she said that Charissa may have knocked her nose straight.
Yeah, that's what she did say that.
She said that on her social media posts. I mean, seriously. I mean, seriously, they looked like going straight to the hospital candidates. You remember that picture that they took backstage after the fight? They were completely purpled up, completely covered in blood. But you know what? They had smiles on their faces because they knew how special what happened. They knew how special it was, that they got to set the tone for Knucklemania. And boy, did they set a tone. God damn, did they. I went backstage and I gave them both a hug, but I was talking to Taylor and I said, you have no idea how much I want to thank you. I am thanking you for, I said, for what's his name? For what Beltran and Lopez did for us in BKFC 1, Starling and Segala did for us at Knucklemania. And I just,
that's fair.
That's a very fair statement. And I just said, thank you so much for what you did. Thank you. We can't thank you enough for your sacrifice, for taking this seriously and realizing how important this opportunity was for the both of you, that you got to kickstart the very first premier event in bare knuckle history. No other bare knuckle entity, no other bare knuckle organization has ever had a premier event outside of a numbered event. We've talked about this,
Right.
Josh.
Right.
Very, very few combat sports organizations will have a premier annual event as opposed to, you know, say your regular numbered events. But we took a chance, brought out Knucklemania. We had a couple of people saying that we were ripping off WrestleMania. And I said, well, you know something? WrestleMania ripped off Beatlemania. So there it is. You know, who gives a shit? We just took the idea and we put a bare knuckle finish on it, and the end result was magic. Because let me tell you something, the first WrestleMania, if you're talking about production standards, it probably wasn't that great. But our first Knucklemania by production standards was our best one ever. So we are leaps and bounds ahead of the competition when it comes to that. So I hugged her so tight and I said, thank you so much. Your sacrifice and what you gave us is what is going to keep us in business, and is what is going to propel us to absolute 100% mainstream acceptance.
100%. And I would like to chime back to Leonard Garcia real quick about the Joe Elmore fight. And I think a lot of people, you know, his loss to Jim Ellers, it was so, you know, that
it did feel long, didn't it, Ryan? It did feel long. It did feel like, it felt like a long fucking fight. It did.
The first round TKO to Jim Ellers, right? It was such an incredible, you know, just an incredible fast pace start to that. It ended so quick. I think a lot of people forget, you know, again, with Leonard Garcia defeating Julian Lane back at BKFC 4, he knocked out Julian Lane. Round 2, 1 minute 41 seconds in the round 2. We all know how tough fucking Julian Lane is. You know, Julian Lane going toe to toe with Thiago Alves.
He's a coffin nail.
You know, so like, don't get it twisted. You know, Leonard Garcia, I think a lot of people might not give him the credit, you know, I think he deserves. You know, he is, obviously he's a grizzled vet, man. He was in the UFC for a long time, and don't get it twisted. Like, I don't think this is any type of easy win or anything for Joel Moore. I think a lot of people are counting Leonard out, and I think that's a big fucking mistake. I really do. It's a big mistake.
First and foremost, people, you should never count anybody out in bare knuckle. You should never count anybody. If you're counting somebody out, then you're only looking at it from one side of the street and not two. You got to look at it from both sides of the street when it comes to bare knuckle, because we don't know. Okay. We didn't know what was going to happen with Paige Van Zandt and Britton Hart. We had no friggin' clue what was going to happen. But I was talking to Susan Singari. I had a great interview with her after at the post-fight Knucklemania. And I said, if there's any one thing that the main event proved, is that Paige belongs in bare knuckle. She belongs in BKFC. I believe you are going to see an absolutely different fighter come her next fight. I think what happened is that she was gauging the fight, and Britton hungrier that night? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I saw things from Britton that I've never seen before. And it was just absolutely a pleasure to watch her. But I don't think anybody was seriously overwhelmed. I mean, I know that Paige gave Britton one hell of a shot, where you see Paige messing with her mouthpiece and you don't know whether she's putting her mouthpiece back or putting her teeth back.
Right.
Because Britton even admitted, I've never been hit that hard in my life.
Yeah.
So that proves that Paige is there. I mean, lest we forget about celebrity transitions, lest we forget Mr. Brock Lesnar, when he debuted in the UFC, it wasn't a successful debut. He got caught in a heel hook by Frank Mir. And that was probably embarrassing. But then again, when you're in there with someone with the jiu-jitsu pedigree of Frank Mir, and you leave your foot available for all to grab, that's gonna happen. Exactly. So honestly, I think that this will just drive Paige's stock up that much more, because now everybody is going to be anxious to see how she does in fight number 2. And that's going to be a little bit more of a proving ground than the first fight. Because now that she's gotten her bearings, and we all remember what happened in round number 5, she started turning up the heat. She started really turning up the. Unfortunately, it was a scenario that many fighters find themselves in. Too little, too late.
Well, when we talked, we talked on the phone, Jeff, and when I was talking about this, that I thought one of the better scenarios happened where I don't think either of these girls. Well, obviously,
nobody really lost. No, nobody really lost in this scenario.
Right. Paige didn't really lose. Like, I don't think she lost any stock here. I think if
not
anything,
at all. No, what she would have lost stock if she would have called it a career.
Right. Or if it would have just been maybe totally lopsided, but it wasn't.
If she had stepped away, or if she had gone to somewhere else and thought that there were greener pastures after that, then yes, her stock would have gone down ridiculously. But now she has the opportunity to go back to the drawing board with the bare knuckle knowledge that she has and come out that much a better fighter. So let's just say that she decides to actually, go to greener pastures one day. Well, bare knuckle's just going to make her a better fighter. It's going to make her an overall better fighter, no matter whether she stays or matter whether she goes. But the best thing that she could do, go back to the drawing board with the knowledge that she has now, and now she'll be coming out a more confident fighter. Whoop. Okay, I don't know what the hell that was, but she's going to come out that much more confident. And with Britton, how often is it that you get an opportunity to see a fighter's life, someone's life change, literally right before your very eyes?
Like hitting the lottery, man.
No, it was. And of course, my bitch ass fucking voice had to crack when I said Britton. Because I went, and I swear, I'm like, I guess my balls dropped again or something like that. I don't know. But that just shows how fucking out of it that I was. I mean, I put everything that I am into every show that I do. But this one, man, I told Susan Singari, it was riding the right side of my brain for everything it was worth. It was just one of the most mentally and physically draining events I've ever been a part of because I was just so pumped up. I was in overdrive from moment one to moment done. It was amazing. But watching Britain pick up that and just watching that overall jubilation and everything, I'm not too thrilled about Jenny Savage, though. About that, because, I understand, hey, I get it. You got to make your mark. But I'm never the biggest fan of somebody trying to make their mark at the expense of somebody getting the biggest win of their life. That's the only thing. Like what Britain did, calling out Paige, she didn't do that at the expense of anybody. She saw an opportunity and she took it. But Jenny Savage sneaking into the ring like that, I know that you want to make a statement, and I'm all for making statements. However, this was not the right time to do that. I believe that Britain deserved her moment in the sun for that life-changing, and I know she shrugged it off like it was no big deal because that's the awesome professional that she is.
I have to say this, Jeff. I have to say this. I'm going to have to pause you right there.
Uh-oh.
Here's what I don't believe. I don't believe this was completely random. Now, what exactly happened, I don't know. But even Jenny was talking about this on social media that, there was more to it. I don't know what happened. So I'll put my conspiracy hat on, but I just don't. We are
a half conspiracy show, so
but like I don't believe. You mean to tell me the security just let?
Oh no! I don't. No, of course not. That's not what I'm getting at.
You know what I mean?
No, of course I know what you mean. I know, dude. I know it's set up and everything like that. That's fine. It's just, however, the way it went around it, and maybe she didn't have to douse anybody with water and everything like that. Look. At that point, it's so easy. When people see fighters make these, very hot-headed decisions, you have to take a moment and stop and say, what would you do in that position? Because it's so easy for you to take the moral high ground because you're not a part of it. But in that situation, man, I'm going to tell you, when that adrenaline is taking over, it is easy to make mistakes. That's actually an easier time to make mistakes as opposed to level-headed thinking. It happens all the friggin' time. And unless you've been in that position, you just don't know. I mean, those hot-headed decisions where cooler heads do not prevail, they happen all the time. And it's not that I am knocking Jenny 100% for it. It's just I feel that maybe Jenny probably could have done better at the post-fight. I would have liked to have seen her do something at the press conference, at the post-fight press conference. Let her have her moment and then attack her and everything like that.
That would have felt more appropriate. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I think that there's a time and a place for everything. And I think, honestly, the attack at the post-fight press conference would have looked so much more cooler.
Right. I agree with that.
But that's just my opinion on that.
And then it's weird, man, because I don't know if it's true, but she posts. Someone left an angry. I don't know. Someone left an angry comment.
What do you mean an angry comment? Who left an angry comment?
Somebody left an angry emoji. I don't know. Somebody's mad.
I don't see an angry emoji.
I see it.
Where?
Like on the actual post, somebody left an angry, like you can or,
Well, let them be angry. Let them be angry.
What I was gonna say is, I read where she's talking about taking time off, not fighting until fall. So it's just, the whole thing is weird, man. Like,
it is.
If it was like a setup or whatever, then like why go through all that and then I'm
no idea.
Fight until fall. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I don't know, whatever. I just have the information that I see on social media, which we all know social media is 100% true. And that's sarcasm, by the way. But
oh, absolutely. Don't you remember it was Abraham Lincoln that said everything on the internet is true?
He did say that. That was 100% true. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it at all.
I love that.
So I guess kind of getting back around to that, Yeah, nobody lost in that fight. I think it's going to do big things for the company. It's going to do big things for Britain and Paige. I'm curious to see what happens next because it's definitely a shakeup.
It's a huge shakeup.
Who does Nate and Dave and the whole crew, they've got a lot of work ahead of them, trying to figure out.
This is there is so much that they have to do as of right now. There's just so much work that is ahead of them after Knucklemania. Just so many. Dave is actually en route right now to Miami. Apparently, he's going to be having a few high-profile signings that he's going to release in the next few days.
I've heard.
So
I've heard one of them.
I'm sure you have. We're not going to let the cat out of the bag anytime soon. They're not the biggest fan of that, but we will, as soon as they make it official, we will blow it the fuck up like we always do. But I want to get back to the card, and I want to get to talking about a very interesting fight that took place there. And I'm talking about our first ever Israeli bare knuckle fighter in Chaim Ghazali. He got the win over John McAllister. But what was interesting about this fight is that at the beginning, John McAllister was owning it.
He came out hard.
He came out really hard, but he may have come out a little too hard, and he may have gassed himself out a little bit because I'm gonna tell you something. The MMA veteran, he was calm, he was cool. He calmed down a little bit under pressure, and then brought it back and got the 10 count KO over that. And as I said, this was another history making, our first Israeli born bare knuckle fighter to debut in bare knuckle fighting championship. Awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff.
No, I'm excited, man.
And it was a comeback. It was a good comeback. I mean, there's nothing that's more inspirational in a fight than an awesome comeback.
We saw a couple good debuts, him and John Shelbeck.
Dude, I was surprised about that. It's always disappointing to see the panache of the bare knuckle mustache go down because, of course, Greg Bono had a great mustache. And Greg, I'm going to set something straight right here, man. And you can certainly get mad at me and such, and I'll take it. I don't normally. There's situations to when it comes to nicknames that I could care less about how I feel. But your nickname, man, unfortunately, if I were have to have said that on there, I probably would have been put under the bus by every single person because his nickname is Rock Hard.
Rock Hard.
And the last thing that I want to do is not accommodate a fighter as far as that. But I figured, it was on his shorts, and I figured he'd be able to put that over himself in his fight. That's fine. But I'm going to tell you, Greg, I do apologize. I do apologize for that, brother. I do. I will eat crow for not announcing your nickname. I will.
You mean to tell me? So wait, how did this go down when you were talking to him or when you guys were discussing?
No. It wasn't the fact. It wasn't the fact. I did not. Talk to him.
And what's your nickname? What's your nickname, Greg? Oh, it's Rock Hard.
No, I knew. I knew what his nickname was ahead of time. I knew. So
you had already decided.
I had made the decision. I had made the conscientious decision not to say the nickname.
Did you tell him ahead of time? Like, hey, brother, look, listen. By the way,
no, I did not. That's why I'm apologizing.
I'm not saying Rock Hard.
Dude, that's why I am apologizing. That's why I am in apology mode as of right now because I didn't tell him ahead of time. And I'm sorry. I am. But I'm sorry, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow for me. And I hate not accommodating a fighter. I really don't. I really hate that.
But here's the real question.
Uh-oh.
Would Bruce Buffer have said Rock Hard? Would he?
How about this? I'm not fucking Bruce Buffer. I'm not Bruce Buffer myself, so therefore, why would I care? If Bruce Buffer wants to say it, that's fine. I'm Jeff Houston. Stop holding me up to every other announcer.
Hey, I'm just trying to figure out this whole Rock Hard conspiracy thing.
Yeah, I bet you are. Yeah, I bet you are, man. Yeah, you put that whole 10 inches in your mouth right there, boy. You see, when we are seeing Josh's backside, it's either two things. He's either laughing so hard, or it's
don't you say it,
or it's suppository time. Dude, I'm not Bruce Buffer. I'm not Michael Buffer. I am no other famous ring announcer outside of Mr. Live Worldwide, and I made the call. That's why, once again, I am in apology mode.
What did Joey Styles used to say whenever the FBI came out on ECW? He used to talk about like Little Guido, or when they used to always come out, he used to always say, "Yeah, he thinks an innuendo is an Italian suppository."
Oh God, that's an old one. That's an old one. That's been around for a long time. Innuendo, Italian suppository. No, that's been around for a long time.
You know what's funny though?
That was not his. That was around way before him.
I didn't even realize you didn't say it, to be honest.
Well, like I said, I apologize for not saying it, Greg. I certainly hope that you do come back to Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. If you do keep the same nickname, I'm probably going to have to take the high road again.
And by the way, on the line, we have rock hard Greg Bono himself. Greg!
Yeah, you're not funny. Yeah, you're not funny. But you know something? John Chalbeck, did a fantastic job. Right hand TKO, 28 seconds out of round number 3. Greg got rocked a couple of good times, not so good at trolling. Cool hat. I appreciate that, brother. See, some people appreciate the nostalgia and the amazingness that is the leather Kangol hat.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. You're just upset that you don't have one.
I'm done talking about that Kangol hat. That was so.
He's so fucking pouty, ladies and gentlemen. Look at him.
I'm done talking about this Kangol hat.
All right, then let's get back to the fights. Okay, so John Chalbeck victorious in that. Now let's go over to another fight that I was really looking forward to. Wasn't the most exciting fight overall. There was a little bit too much feeling out in the process. Of course, I'm talking about Lorenzo Hunt and Rob Morrow. And if you're going to have my honest opinion about the fight, then I'm going to tell you it was somewhat of a lackluster fight, but it had a fantastic finish. A left hook out of fucking nowhere to drop Rob Morrow, man. And I believe that was 2 minutes into round number 4, the way it was going. I think that the way that it was going, Rob Morrow, if it had continued that way, I believe he would have won by decision if that had gone the full 5 rounds.
Well, you know what? And Rob had a decent game plan. Lorenzo does what Lorenzo does. He comes in with the flurry and he's a head-hunting son of a gun.
But he did more measuring this time around.
He did more measuring.
He erred on caution a little bit more.
Rob kind of forced him, though, because Rob also has some hands.
Oh, no. And I think that's what it was. I think that Lorenzo knew that Rob has got those hands, and that's why he erred on caution a little bit more than usual. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Rob, his game plan was looking for that counterpunch, and yeah, okay, maybe it wasn't the most exciting thing compared to especially the rest of the card, but you know what? Rob did what he had to do. I'm not mad at him for it. He went in there and did what he had to do. Lorenzo's fucking dangerous.
He is, but what's more dangerous is the old man that apparently is joining us as of right now. An old man that knows no boundaries, has got a filthy fucking mouth. Oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is a bona fide nudist for what we said. If he offers to show you pictures of the people at these nudist colonies, for the love of God, say no. You don't need to. That's shit you can't unsee.
Wait, did you see him?
No. I'm gonna tell you, if he had actually tried to trick me into that, I probably would have been arrested for involuntary manslaughter. I probably would have killed him if he had done something like that. No, not at all. Not at all. But no, he is a bona fide nudist, and that's some creepy fucking shit, man.
He talked about it. He got that place. I won't give up his spot, but
I'm not going to give us. But no, he was going. You suck at putt-putt. No, I don't. No, I don't. I certainly do not. So you got a 41 and I got a 56. Granted, the last time that I played putt-putt, yeah, we actually played putt-putt right before the show. We went and had an awesome lunch at Bahama Breeze, and there was a putt-putt golf course, a very impressive one that was just down the street from where we ate. Scott, paid for, it was me, Scott Burt, Howie, and Gary Grant. And Gary and I actually got the same score. And apparently so did Scott and Howie. Howie and Scott, obviously are the more tenured putt-putt golfers. They scored a 41. Gary and I scored a 56. And I said, considering I had not played putt-putt, the last time I played putt-putt, I think that I was in high school. I think I did pretty good for someone who hadn't played in well over 20 years. Well over 20 years. Did Scott cheat? Well, you know something? He might have. He absolutely might have. I mean, he definitely moved the ball back from the edge a couple of times. And no, that's not code for bedroom talk. He actually did. But Howie did keep score, and apparently he had you two dead even, and he had Gary and us dead even. I think that we did all right for our first time, considering we hadn't played for, like I said, 20 plus years.
50 years, something like that.
Well, Scott's 200, so it's been at least 50 years for him.
Did they have like the different color balls to? Oh
yeah, we had to. We had to each have and we also did the more challenging course as opposed to the kiddie course. Cool thing about it was that there was nobody playing ahead of us, so we pretty much had the whole 18 to ourselves. It was nice.
Who had more holes than one?
All right, Howie, you had two. Either you had two or three, but I know you had at least two. I know you had at least 2 holes in one. You may have had 3, but yes, you did have more holes in one. You did. Hey, I shot for par a couple of holes. I was happy about that. I was happy the fact that I shot for par. I actually shot under par for a hole or two, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, you're always happy with. I don't know. Never mind. I don't know where
you were looking for a nasty joke, and you were looking for a nasty joke, and it just wasn't there.
It wasn't. I messed up.
It did not answer the door for you. It just didn't.
I wasn't quick on my feet enough on that one.
But both were bank shots. See, there's Scott once again with a million fucking excuses, but it was bank shot. It's a bank shot. Who cares whether it was a bank shot? Hole in one is a hole in one. Take it. Just like a W is a W. Speaking of W's, let's get back to what we were talking about. Lorenzo Hunt comes out of nowhere with this huge left hook, ends the fight, gets the W. At the end of round 4 in absolute dominating fashion like he normally does. Now, were they getting booed? Absolutely. The boos were ringing out amongst the RP Funding Center, but those boos turned to cheers very quickly after that left hook. And it was just one of those times that Lorenzo was laying back, measuring it, and looking for that big shot. And guess what, folks? He got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is what it is. And you know what? Lorenzo Hunt, man, I'm excited to see where he goes because now, let's see, he's 4-1. He's on a hell of a hot streak now.
No, he is. He's going to be, like I said, win this 185-pound. Either I don't know whether it's going to be a tournament. I don't know whether it's going to be a fight. I know that there has been crosstalk about a couple of guys who are going to vie for the inaugural BKFC 185-pound championship, or if we're actually going to run the gamut and do a 185-pound championship tournament.
What was the score for the Bedford fight?
It was even. It was actually even across the board. Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, it was
40, and then somebody had 49. Yeah, it was 49-46. That's right. 48-47 times 2, and then 49-46.
The 49-46 I thought was that was a little.
Yeah, that was a little off. I agree as well. That one was a little off to me when I saw that. I was like,
I would have been okay. It was a close fight. I thought that did do enough to win the fight. Now, with that said, say if it would have came back a draw or something.
Did we see it that way? Did I see Dat winning overall? Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
I mean, it was close. Like,
yes.
I wouldn't say.
But that 49-46, I did not agree with that.
I thought that was off. 49-46, I thought was. I don't know that won it that far off, like that far away. He didn't run away with it that much.
Ooh, Howie, that'd be a good fight. Lorenzo and Cochran. Ooh, that'd be a good fight.
I don't think
that'd be a good fight.
Dakota doesn't want to fight that high though. I think he wants to stay at like 175.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, but he can come up. I mean, the guy's
he can.
The guy's a tank. It's just
he can and he has.
He'd be giving up a lot of height.
Yeah.
Because what is Lorenzo, about 6'1", 6'2"? What is
6'3"?
No, he's not 6'3". No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lorenzo. I love you, brother, but I've stood next to you. You're not 6'3". You're not
6'2". He's a big dude.
No, I'm not saying he's not a big dude, but he's not 6'3". Okay, I'm here to tell you he's not 6'3". I know that for a fact because my boy Sean Wheelock is just right at the teeter of 6'3", and he's taller than Lorenzo.
Okay,
so that's I know. But once again, that would be a good one. And what is Dakota's what, about 5'9", 5'10"? I think he's about 5'9", maybe 5'10", and everything. But the guy's but he's built like a tank. He's built like a brick shit tank. I mean, I think that would be another good one as well, especially for someone who hits as hard as Dakota does. That's another exciting possibility.
Speaking of Dakota too, can we also fucking talk about obviously, we'll discuss it more in detail, but Chris Lieben.
No, let's talk about one thing before we get there. One more thing before we get there. The one thing that we got to talk about is we've got to talk about the bare knuckle debut of Martin Brown. A very unique situation there. In fact, actually, I believe it was SB Nation in their headline said, Knuckle Mania, what a crazy thing, and a one-legged man won an ass-kicking contest. I believe that's what it was. Excuse me for the every now and then my brain takes a very big right turn when in fact it should be taking a left turn. It happens to us all, folks. But no, I think he really messed up his knee. I think, when he went down on that slip, and I just think that he messed up that knee and it just exacerbated more and more. At one point, we didn't know if he was going to be able to continue. But for someone to generate that kind of knockout power off a bum knee, dude, that's impressive.
It says a lot.
That says a lot about the character. That says a lot about the heart because, lesser people would stop the fight because they'd be more concerned about the overall welfare of their leg or their knee. But Martin wasn't about, and you saw he was pissed. He was pissed. The last thing he wanted to, doctor said that he was okay. We move forward with it. And like I said, generating that kind of momentum off of a punch. So just imagine once he gets that knee stable, man, there's a guy who throws with bad intentions. And he knocked out a decent fighter. Zach Zane is no pushover, man.
No.
He's a strong Hawaiian fighter, man. He fought in Bellator. He's been all over the board. So to bring him on to BKFC, it was awesome to see him there. But Martin Brown definitely making a statement, injuries and all. Now, I don't know how severe it is. I have not checked in on it. I definitely probably want to get some kind of an update on how he's doing with that knee and how he's going to rehab that knee and when we're going to see him back, because he's another guy who truly belongs in BKFC. Now, Josh, now that we've addressed that, please continue with our amazing feature fight.
No, absolutely. But also too, I'm excited, for Martin Brown because he's part of that 155-pound division, which it's an exciting division right now.
It's the hottest division in BKFC. The exception of maybe the heavyweight division, the 155 division. No, there is no exception. No, the 155 is white hot. It's on fucking fire right now.
I mean, it's definitely on fire, man. But what I'm saying is, I'm excited to see just another solid addition to that division. What I was getting to, and how he hinted at this too, is for how tough. Talk about Dakota Cochran when you were talking about Chris Lieben, Quentin Henry, to show you how fucking tough Dakota was. like you watch that fight with Chris and Quentin. Quentin's a tough SOB, right? Retirement fight for Chris Lieben. Chris Lieben hits like a fucking Mack truck. And then you kind of go back in time and watch BKFC.
It's like a freight train. It's like a freight train.
Go back and watch BKFC 6, the Malinaji Lobov card, and go watch Chris Lieben versus Dakota Cochran. And you see fucking Dakota Cochran take every shot Chris threw at him and just
with a smile and with a smile on his fucking face on top of that.
Kept plowing through. Like you really see like, oh shit, Dakota is a bad dude.
He is. He is a bad dude. To stand there at Chris Lieben in this stage, Chris Lieben, he just hit 40, so he's right at that middle age part. He's got that older man strength that so many people possess, and that's some scary stuff.
Yeah,
that's some scary fucking stuff. But Dakota Cochran powered through it. Chris Lieben still to this day says that Dakota Cochran was the heaviest hitter he had ever faced anywhere in his entire career, which honestly says so much.
It says everything.
It says everything about Dakota Cochran. But it was regrettable about what happened with Quentin Henry, because I would have liked to have seen a completely healthy Quentin Henry, and what happened with his eye was just absolutely it sucked.
The punch to the eye thing.
That punch to the eye, and it happens, folks. It happens. At first, we thought it was an accidental eye poke, but it was a punch.
Right.
I was actually thinking it was going to go the direction of a no contest.
Right.
Because I saw the doctors in there, I saw the commission there. It's like, oh man, they're going to stop it. They're going to stop it. They're going to call it accidental, and he's going to get a no contest for his final fight. And that's no fucking way to end a career. No fucking way.
What they were talking about in the ring was, when the ref approached him, he was, well, I guess once they realized that it was a punch and not a eye poke, he was saying,
they let him know
it's a TKO.
If you can continue, if you could continue, and they were going to give him the standard 5 minutes. They were going to give him the standard 5 minutes, but Quentin didn't take it. Quentin did not take it. And then as soon as they toed the line and knuckled up, man, Quentin came after him with a fucking vengeance, because he was fucking pissed. But Chris weathered the storm and weathered it beautifully in the clinch, turned that around, and just rained down hell upon the face of Quentin Henry. Jeez.
And you know what? Quentin was talking about it leading up to it. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He was going to bring it to him. And he said, one way or the other.
It's not all about you, sir. I get it. It's not all about you. We're talking
one way
about
or the other. He was saying somebody was going to go the fuck out. Someone was going to get knocked out one way or the other. And I thought that, Quentin did what he needed to. He made it exciting. I think for Chris, it was a wonderful swan song, to his career.
It's the perfect ending, and I hope that he goes out on this one so that he can have that perfect ending. Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to end it. He now is going to be an ambassador for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. You're going to see him ringside. And I just believe that Chris Lieben is going to be, he's going to be a great voice for the next generation of bare knuckle fighters. He's going to be a great voice. He's also going to be a great presence as Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship grows as a company. So having him on board in that capacity, it can only benefit us.
Yeah, 100%, man.
It can only benefit us.
I guess and moving forward to the co-main.
What's going on, Slick Rick? How you doing, brother?
Slick Rick, what's up, buddy? Rick Caruso in the house.
All right, now let's go on to our amazing co-main event for the BKFC 135-pound world title and the inaugural Police Gazette Diamond Bare Knuckle 135-pound champion. Always exciting when somebody not only gets an opportunity at a BKFC world title, but they get to be the inaugural Police Gazette world title holder. Not everybody, not too many people get that honor. Not too many people get that opportunity to get both belts. Now, let's just say this. We all know what happened. We know the decision and such, but Johnny Bedford did not come out completely unscathed because Johnny Bedford is still the Police Gazette American Bare Knuckle 135-pound championship. Now, what would have happened if Johnny had won? He would have surrendered the American championship for the Diamond World Championship. but he did not complete out. So he may not be the bare knuckle world champion anymore, but he is still the Police Gazette American 135 pound champion. So he still has an American belt around his waist.
100%.
That's a lot more than some people get. Sometimes, they put it all on the line. They put it all on the line, and they leave with no bling bling whatsoever. So, I cannot wait for the rematch. The rematch is going to happen. It's going to be one of our biggest rematches ever. When it does happen, it's going to pull a 180. You're going to see an absolutely different fight, and I don't know if there's going to be a different reaction. I have no idea. But what I do know is that you are going to see the nickname Brutal Johnny Bedford absolutely on display when they run that back, and they will. It makes sense to run it back.
I think so.
Did you hear what Dat was saying to Reggie? Did you hear when Reggie started chiming in the post-fight interview, and he was saying, I don't need to take a step down.
Yeah, you know what, and I've said this before.
I'm like, wow, that's a bold. He is our new world champion, but wow, that's saying.
You know what? It's interesting, right? Because I don't think Dat really believes that. I don't know what it is.
Maybe it was just the high after becoming world champion.
Maybe it happens. I think Reggie.
Reggie poses a threat to Dat 100%.
Reggie is, I think, the next in line. Now, and let me make this clear too, because a lot of people, I got a lot of fucking heat over my rankings that I updated about the 135 pound rankings in particular. Don't do that. I just want to clarify a couple things.
I did it, and I'll do it again.
So I had Reggie was the number one contender.
Yep.
That one beats Johnny Bedford.
Yep.
I bumped Johnny Bedford down to number one contender since he was the former champion, and he's still the American Police Gazette champion. I think that solidifies him.
No, I agree.
As a number one contender. But with that
he's
said,
holding some kind of championship still, even in defeat. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and with that said, that doesn't mean that I don't think Reggie. Like, I put Reggie down to number 2, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that he shouldn't be, the next title contender, like the next one in line. That's not what that means. I 100% think Dat and Reggie, if Dat versus Johnny does not happen, Dat versus Reggie is the fight to make. If the rematch doesn't happen, Dat versus Reggie is the fight to make. 1,000.
Well, yes, it is the fight to make, and I agree. I agree with that. As of right now, as far as contenders and fighters in line, obviously, as far as an earning opportunity, nobody's earned it more than Reggie.
Yeah. Like, who else would it be?
Like Rick, do me a favor, dude. Get that word deserved out of your vocabulary. I fucking hate that word. Nobody fucking deserves it. Reggie has earned the opportunity to be next in line. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Stop it. Stop that fucking deserve that shit. Earned. Nobody deserves. Dude.
Saying it so it triggers Jeff. Just keep saying.
Hey, no, it's just the way that I look at it. No, the way that I look at it is this is the real world. You don't deserve shit. You earn it. You work for it. You're a fucking adult.
Somebody write deserve like in all caps. Just say it, just so it triggers Jeff.
How about dessert? If you say dessert, I'll be fine.
Dessert. Dessert. Look. Do you remember that, like in elementary school, like desert, Desert, dessert has 2 S's because you want 2. Dess. Okay, anyway. Dessert. That's right. He deserves it. Way to go, everybody. Look at him. He can barely contain himself.
No, I'm doing just fine.
The trigger is real.
The trigger is real. But seriously, on our co-main event, awesome back and forth. It's interesting. I was watching the Joe Rogan Experience the other day, and I saw Max Holloway on it. And now I'm fucking hungry. I saw the Joe Rogan Experience, and I saw Max Holloway, and they were talking about now that What's his name? In the 185-pound division. You know who I'm talking about. Who's now bare knuckle fighting. I swear to God, I'm so bad with names sometimes. No, no. Who Tiago's supposed to be fighting.
Hector?
Yes, Hector. Yeah.
Hector
they
Lombard?
were saying they were like, Hector Lombard's now doing bare knuckle. And Max was like, really? And then they did a perspective saying that the MMA fighter has the better chance over the boxer because of the fact that, you're working with 4-ounce gloves as opposed to that. I'm here to say that is 100% not true. If you're looking at that as the overall basis on how you judge a fighter based on whether or not they represent MMA or boxing, you got to stop doing that because that just isn't so. If that were the case, then Johnny would have beaten Dat Win.
Do you know what really, and I know this might sound cliche.
How about this? It varies from
I know it sounds cliche, but this is the key right here.
Oh, 100%. No, it is.
Whether
it varies.
Boxer, whether you're from boxing or MMA, and you know what? To be fair, I thought at first when I first started covering it, I'm like,
it doesn't make you better, but it acclimatizes you a little bit more than possibly a boxer. But does it make you an overall better at bare knuckle fighting just because the fact that you're an MMA fighter as that? The only thing that it does is you're a little bit more acclimated to a bare knuckle punch as opposed to a boxer is. This is true.
And you might be slightly better in the inside, like the dirty boxing scenarios. You might be slightly better at that, but there's so many intangibles, man, because like the movement, you figure movement, range.
You can't hold that. You can't hold that to everybody. You can't hold that comparison over everybody. You can't hold it over every MMA fighter, over every boxer. It just doesn't work that way.
You're right. No, you're right. And I when I first started watching, I kind of, MMA has the advantage, but now it's just not the case. It's just not.
No. The advantage, as far as I'm concerned, the advantage lies in the hands. Yeah. The advantage lies in the hands and the heart. And it's just so interesting to see because there's so many question marks over your head when we have a debut that you have no fucking clue whether or not that this person is going to hold up. And that's what makes it so goddamn exciting. If you've never fought bare knuckle fight before and you're an MMA fighter or a boxer, and you're going to go ahead and throw that in there, your fight knowledge, fight IQ, whatever the fuck you want to call it, thinking that this person has an advantage over them just because they happen to be an MMA fighter as opposed to the boxer. And I'm here to tell you that's hogwash. It's poppycock. It's bullshit. It doesn't hold up. It's different for every fucking fighter.
Yeah, Mundell, it went to a decision. It went to unanimous decision.
No, what happened with that is that Hector didn't open up.
Right.
Hector did not open up against Dave Mundell. He was measuring. They were both measuring. Dave was trying to engage. Hector wasn't quite ready for that as of yet. But you better believe that he opened up his next fight out, and we saw the Hector that we all remember, those absolutely ridiculous, vicious fucking hands. And that's where Hector shines because Hector has the hands that can transition from MMA to bare knuckle, no problem. He's got those hands. Now, Howie says that he has limited movement because of his bulk. I'm going to tell you something. I agree and I disagree. I agree and I disagree on that because I'm going to tell you, bulk or not, this man knows how to generate momentum from these hits, regardless whether he's got muscle on him or not.
Yeah, I can understand that because when you, especially if you've ever been around Hector, and I know everybody.
Oh, you don't walk next to him; you walk among him.
Yeah, at least everybody in the chat, I stood right next to Hector, and he's just like one fucking ball of muscle, man. Dude, he's the biggest one. Dude, he's the biggest 185er to 205er I've ever seen. As far as mass, dude, he's huge. Yeah. He's fucking huge. But you have to remember, this guy knows how to generate momentum with these shots. He absolutely does. So I don't think that the bulk is going to be the biggest factor. Because not only that, Hector doesn't. He hasn't. Can he make 185?
That's going to be a tough one because he usually fights at around 195, 205.
Well, his 2 fights in BKFC has both been 205.
I think he could. I think he could get down to 185. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's an athlete. Of course he can. He's a fucking professional athlete. Of course he can get down to 185. Is it going to be a rough cut? Will it be a rough cut? Will it be a rough cut? Oh, fuck yeah. It'll be a big time rough cut. Well, of course he can get down to 185. He was the first ever WEC middleweight champion.
Right, but let's see. Okay, so he actually just had a birthday. So what? He's 40, 41.
Okay, so he's a few years younger than me.
You know, he just turned 41. I mean, I know it gets more challenging, you know, the older you get. I don't know. I'm not saying he can't.
Oh, nobody's saying that he can't. He absolutely can.
Like Yoel Romero is a prime example. That dude, what is he, like 45, and he still fucking cuts like 100 pounds.
Yeah, but look how massive, dude. He's another Hector Lombard. He's fucking huge. He's massive. Dude, you remember when he fought Israel Adesanya? God, talk about a body mesomorph mismatch. Jesus Christ.
Hector versus Lorenzo. Yeah, that would be a good fight. Hector,
that
would be something.
That would be a good fight too. But getting back to the co-main event, you know, I do believe that Dat was a step ahead of Johnny. Johnny did look like that he was a little gassed as we were getting closer to the end, but he still looked fantastic, and he gave punches and bunches to Dat. Dat wasn't in any danger of getting knocked down that I saw. Yeah. He did get rocked a couple of times, but as far as a knockdown, no, I didn't really see that. I saw two guys that were, you know, pretty evenly matched for a while, but as far as the punch counter, the punch ticker, you know, I just had Dat ahead. On that fight, and it sucks because Johnny and I, we go way back. Johnny and I go way back, 12, 13 years back. So
same blood and the same mud.
I love saying that because it's the truth.
You always say, whenever you talk about Johnny, you always say that quote, same blood, same mud.
Why not? It's appropriate.
It is appropriate. No, it was close, but yeah, I thought in, you know, a lot of those exchanges, that just got the slightly better end of it, you know, on a lot of those exchanges. Again, it was nothing that I don't think like that.
He gave up a lot of height. He gave up a lot of height against Johnny. You got to remember, Johnny weighed in at 133.7, and he's 5'10". Jesus Christ. My God, man. But I mean, like I said it before, I'll say it again. When the rematch gets signed, you're going to see a completely different fight. Absolutely. That you are not going to see a repeat of what we just saw. You are going to see a hungrier Johnny Bedford, and Johnny's already hungry on top of that. So to see a better version of Johnny Bedford is actually kind of scary. But you know, another thing that happened in that was one of my favorite aspects of my job. When you've got a close decision and you've got a new champion against your head. The psychological pause is the best part about it all, man. Keep them on the edge of their seat. Dude, if I can actually be like scanning the crowd when I say and I see someone literally fall over out of their seat and I say new, I'm waiting for it. It's almost like I'm not going to say it until I see someone who's about ready to fall out of their seat. I like when I hold it so back that the referee turns around and looks at me like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Did you forget?
And the ref's like,
Yep. Then you know that you got it. Then you know that you've got it. But of course, yep. And having Shaquille O'Neal present Dat win the 135-pound world championship had to feel like $1 million. You know, Dat had a fantastic post-fight interview, and of course Reggie gets in there, and there's heated exchange between them. You know, Reggie still saying that, you know, that's not your belt, that's not that, you know, that's my belt, you know, and such. I mean, I believe that he has earned an opportunity. If there's anyone that's next in line, if they decide not to run the rematch back right away, it's definitely going to be Reggie.
It's got to be.
It's got to be. It really makes more sense to have Reggie step up because Reggie's got a fantastic record. And, that's 3-0 as a bare knuckle fighter as of right now. And I think that Reggie's going to take that fight super seriously. And you got two fantastic world caliber, boxers.
Yeah.
That understand the dynamics of bare knuckle, which makes it even more scary.
Yeah.
That's even worse. The fact that they do understand the dynamics, the fact that they have, been out there in the trenches and they know exactly how it is.
That came up the Shaq's kneecap.
That's funny. That's funny. It wasn't quite that bad, but
it might not be too far away though either.
That's funny. All right, then let's get on to it, man. Let's get on to our main event of Knuckle Mania, Paige Van Zandt and Britain Hart. What a moment that was, building up that main event after we had those two ladies in the ring ready to go. That's the stuff that adrenaline is made of. I mean, the endorphins that were running throughout the RP Funding Center for that main event were just, seriously, man, I felt like fucking Mean Gene Okerlund. The electricity in the air, you could cut it with a knife. That's the way it felt.
Back to you, Bobby.
That's the way it felt. That's the way it felt. And I think that, again, I love sounding like a broken record. If it proved one thing, it proved that Paige does belong in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. No, go ahead.
I was saying, do me a favor. Do your new, but in the style of Howard Finkel. I know you can.
Absolutely not, sir.
Come on.
I'm not a performing monkey. I am here to do Loudmouth Fisticuffs.
You love doing Howard Finkel. Come on.
I don't love doing it when I I want to do it, not when you want me to do it.
Somebody ask him in the chat so he'll do it.
No, I'm not going to do. No, I'm not a performing monkey today, folks.
Tell him to do Howard Finkel.
I'm in a fucking bathrobe. Back off.
Where's your pipe at? You need some of that energy.
All right, fine. Here's my fucking pipe. You happy? There you go, folks.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. I got my fucking pipe right here, man.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud of Britain, man. Really proud of Paige. I'm proud of I'm proud of the whole card. It was an amazing card.
How could you not be proud of Britain? Her life changed right before our very eyes.
She has really upped her game and just
I don't know who the fuck this is but you also have to remember who Britain faced.
Well, she said,
Britain faced the best of the best at the time. She didn't face any ham and eggers coming up in the women's division. Beck Rawlings and Christine Faria, for God's sake, man.
Well, she's talked about it several times when she trained for Beck Rawlings. Just wrap this around. I know Jeff, but some of the people listening, just wrap this around your brain. When she trained for Beck Rawlings, that fight, she was training at like a YMCA. She had no.
Oh, I know. No, she didn't have. She had no established.
She was doing stuff at the YMCA by herself. So to see how far she's come.
Well, the evolution. Once she finally has a solid fight squad behind her, a fight camp, a solid fight camp, solid training, solid prep work.
Yes.
She is the fighter that we all wanted her to be. Everybody has wanted Britain Hart. I'm going to tell you something, man. After that fight, Maxim, talk about they are fucking pissed off that they did not choose her as a fucking Maxim girl now. Yeah, I bet you're eating fucking crow right now, aren't you, Maxim? Not taking our sweetheart Britain Hart as a Maxim girl. If anything, now, oh my God, her stock went up 1,000% and you lost out. But you know something? Your loss is going to be somebody else's gain because somebody else is going to see how amazing this girl is, and she's going to end up being the face of not only bare knuckle, but there's so many other things. But with that being said now, Josh, that puts an amazing amount of pressure on Britain because there's one person that's standing in her way, that's saying whether you fought well or you fought bad, you've got to cross me again. We've got to cross paths again. And that right now, in my opinion, is the pound for pound number one female fighter in BKFC, Christine Faria.
You know what? And it's funny you say that. I don't know. I
Ooh,
think
Taylor Starling would be a great next fight. Yeah, I agree with you, Howie. Taylor Starling or Charissa. Either one of them would be a great fight against Britain. But her and honestly, because the one thing about Taylor is ridiculously athletic.
here's what I want to know. And maybe somebody can help clear it up, right? So I keep hearing mixed answers on this. I keep hearing Helen Peralta is still with BKFC. Then I keep hearing
I have no idea. I have no idea. So,
does anybody have a out there in Facebook land or YouTube land,
social media land
is
Helen still part of the machine that is BKFC? Is what we're trying to ask you. Absolutely.
Because I think that would answer some more questions, because
you're gonna the rematch, obviously, if she is, then obviously there's only one logical counter. There's only one logical point, and that logical point is to run that rematch back.
Well, like I said, the women's division. Think about this in a couple months. Christine's going to be.
Howie is saying no, she is not.
I talk to her all the time. Okay.
Howie is saying that she is no longer affiliated, and that's a shame. That's a shame.
But you got, Christine will be ready and healed up in a couple months.
Yep.
Britain Hart, I'm sure, will be ready.
Have you seen her work on her rehab?
She's insane. She's an animal.
She's beyond an animal.
She's a fucking animal.
She's the animal she's the animal that shat out the beast.
Yeah. You'll have Starling and Segala. They'll probably be ready to go in a couple months.
Dude,
Paige,
I'd love to
probably be ready to go in another couple
absolutely.
months. Like, where do you what comes next for any of these girls? Like the matchups that you can put together with this?
But I agree. Taylor Starling and Britain Hart would be an awesome fight.
And where does the title picture fit? What's going to happen?
Well, obviously there is no active world champion as of right now, because obviously if Helen Peralta is no longer the champion, so that title has been vacated. So therefore there is no BKFC women's champion as of right now. There is no Police Gazette, either American or Diamond world champion representative. So it's either going to be a fight or a tournament. It's either going to be a fight or a tournament that makes it happen.
Do a tournament?
Huh?
Do we have enough girls to do a tournament?
I think so. In the 125-pound division, I think that there's enough female representatives to do maybe like a one or maybe a 2-round tournament.
So
maybe a 2-round tournament.
2-round. What would that be?
Yeah.
4-man? A 4-man tournament?
Yeah.
Then?
Yes. A 4-woman tournament. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A co and a main. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A semifinal and a final. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, it's not the deepest trenches as far as the division, but I think there's enough to at least have a semifinal tournament leading up.
What would you do? Britt, Paige, Christine, and Taylor?
I think so. Or you could up it to 8 and everything. You could see about getting a couple of Charissa's still in there. I forget the name of the Hawaiian girl that fought for us.
Oh, Maia.
Yeah. What you could get her in there. We could get one of our very good friends that thinks Hillary Clinton is a what.
Yeah, Machina Star.
Yeah, we could get Puma in there. I think that there's enough at least to get an 8-woman tournament.
I've called it, and I said this on the phone to Jeff. I think before Paige is done with BKFC, whenever that is, I think her and Beck are going to fight in BKFC.
Oh, I think so. I think it's a must. They got to run. They got to run that back. They have to run that back. Yeah, absolutely.
That seed is already kind of planted with. Because they were asking.
Are you kidding? The seed was planted before she even got to BKFC, right, because people know the background between her and Beck. Absolutely, right. Absolutely. Right. So, like I said, live was changed, and I think that Paige Van Zant's stock went up because I was reading a lot of the, not only the social media comments, but a lot of the a lot of the press that was on that fight, and nobody was really putting Paige under the bus at all.
How can you?
There wasn't anything too hyper or overcritical on her performance, because I'm like, and I agree with you. I know that I don't like to agree with you, but I will agree with you by saying, how could you? How could you? It was a fantastic fight. Oh, cut it out.
Yeah, I don't know how you could. You can't.
Thinking you're Ric Flair, I'll call you Rick Fart. Woo! Oh.
That reminds me. Have you seen that guy that like farted, the politician?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was fart.
Smallwell guy, Eric Smallwell.
And who says that fart humor is dead? Please.
Well, it's fucking funny because like I everybody says it's legit because you actually see him like pause and he's like he moves.
No. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. If you find yourself in that situation, never pause. Own it and go through it.
Just keep talking through it.
Yeah. Dude, if you rip, just act like it's nothing. Don't and dude, there are two things that can kind of condemn you if you find yourself in a fart situation that could go viral. Number one, pause. Number two, move your nostrils. Don't sniff. Don't sniff the air. Don't sniff the air. If you see yourself going, dude, you're admitting defeat. Don't admit defeat. Own the fart. Push through it.
Don't sniff the air,
dude.
I have to do it.
Seriously, do not sniff the air.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard the call. Chris contradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've
Dude, did you see his face like lifted up, man? I mean, dude, that pushed him out of his seat.
Is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard the call. Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted.
How low has this show come to fart humor?
And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans
another condemning factor about that is you're so fucking mic'd up. You're so fucking mic'd up in that situation. So not only do you have that mic on you, but there are several other mics that are positioned around the studio in which you're broadcasting from. So that fart is it's so easy to pick up that fart.
Those lapel mics, they are super fucking sensitive.
They really fucking are. They really fucking are. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing, man. I'm gonna tell you. Hey! If Terrence and Phillip could make a career out of this, then I think he'll be just fine.
Hey, guy.
Hey, I'm not your buddy.
Hey, guy. Oh, we just lost viewers, so I'm sorry. Too much fart humor.
Hey, guy, I'm not your buddy. Hey, buddy, I'm not your. Hey, friend, I'm not your buddy. Hey, friend, I'm not your guy. Yeah.
I was watching South Park. Mr. Slave was watching some episodes.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
All right, I think that we're running out of time.
Jeff's running out of internet because he's breaking up.
Well, it's called living out in the country, guys, and it happens to the best of us. And to the probably a good time. Yep, you're froze. There you go. It happens, unfortunately. So I think this is a good time to end episode number 40. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Like I said, now we're middle-aged as far as the podcast goes. I mean, I'm past middle age myself, and he's I never know which way to point, so I'll just say that way. He's not quite there, but he'll get there sooner or later. But man, Knucklemania, awesome spectacle that it was. I cannot wait for the hell that will be unleashed upon Knucklemania 2. I mean, I was talking to Dave. I certainly hope that Knucklemania becomes a week-long event. I certainly hope that it's not just the press conference, the weigh-in, and the event. I assume that next year there's going to be, wherever we decide to emanate from, there is going to be nothing but fanfare. There's going to be events leading up the entire week leading up to Knucklemania 2.
How fucking cool would it be? Now, it would kind of be a rip on WWE, but how fucking cool would it be? Let's just say like Knucklemania is on a Saturday, have a toe the line card Friday night, and then do Knucklemania.
Yeah. It's the same situation like NXT does Takeover, right. No, that makes total sense to actually have a toe the line precede Knucklemania. Of course. I think that'd be a great idea. That's just another event on top of it. And what promoter wouldn't want to jump on a toe the line show right before the biggest bare knuckle fight of the year? Dude, a lot of people would love to jump on. I mean, the possibilities behind the marketing for Knucklemania for next year, they're just endless. They're absolutely endless. And look at what we did with our first one. It was just so incredible. Just imagine what it's going to be like next year.
It'll be a good time, man. I can't fucking wait.
And next year we'll be able to have 100% occupancy on top of that. So let that marinate in your brain, because we had about 50% occupancy, and if COVID had not been around, we would have had to turn people away.
Yeah,
absolutely turn people away.
100%. Well, guys, I tell you what, just like Jeff said, we appreciate you. Episode 40 is in the books. Hour and 45 minutes. So God bless you if you stuck around for the whole time. And we appreciate you. Please smash the like button, share button, subscribe button.
Fucking smash it. Don't fucking hit it. Fucking smash it. Own it. You see this fist? You don't have to put it in somebody's face, but you can put it on your iPad, on your phone, whatever you got that allows you to like something. Smash that fucking like button.
Captain America groove ring, by the way.
Okay. I mean, I knew you were a dork from moment one, and now this just reaffirms my suspicion.
Everybody, that's Jeff Houston, Mr. Live Worldwide. I am Joshua Fers. This is Loudmouth Fisticuffs.
Episode 40.